Here we are back with our Ford Freestyle. Did not think we were going to get a run in on her this year, but turns out there is a derby coming up, the windshield class derby at Clarion County Fair. So we quickly, I say we, my son and I, but more so me, quickly dove back in, just kind of stripped out all the plastic, all the carpets kind of pulled up there, almost got all, as you can see, my scrap and junk from both the PT Cruiser I was flipping as well as this car, what was left, ready to go to the cleanup day here in a little over a week. But yeah, we are going to run this in a windshield class this Saturday, about 6 days away. Stripping it down, going pretty good. Had the dash out a while ago. Back here in the roof, just plastic and a lot of stuff. I will say, again, my rule of thumb, as you are unplugging and or cutting things, I mean, unplug it if you can, cut it if you have to, but especially behind the motor, you really got to be careful. And what I like to do, especially because I'm not super up on what is what, I look at it to try to, it looks like it's not too important, I unplug it, and after I unplug maybe 2 or 3, usually don't do more than a handful, I will turn power back to the car, plug the battery back in, at least the negative side, and I will start it and make sure it runs. And sure enough, while I was taking out this side and this side, I found this guy right here, which is, I think a buddy of mine said it's like a fuel pump regulator or something like that, and that needs to be plugged in. So I had that and a bunch of stuff here and a couple stuff here, and I said I'm going to start up before I rip this out. Sure enough, it would not turn over. There was nothing going to the fuel pump. I was like, uh-oh. Started plugging stuff back in a couple at a time until found out it was that guy. So I'm going to unbolt it, wrap it with some styrofoam or just something, and then I'll kind of fasten it up front near me and the battery. I'm also planning, it's a windshield class, so I do not have to. Right there, those two kind of rubber flaps, and then there's the wiring. That is the fuel tank. Because there's a derby Thursday I'm running, and then this one's Saturday, I might, even though I don't really want to, I might actually just leave the stock tank there. And with it being a wagon, you can see I've got pretty much right inside the wheels here, the tank goes a little bit back to about there, so pretty much inside the front part of the wheel well forward is the tank. And I mean, even though it's not a huge amount to smash up, it's a decent amount, plus you've got the rear axle kind of helping protect it. So if I'm pressed for time, I'm just going to leave it there. I'd like to drop it, and it's pretty simple, just like my Fusion was. I'll just run right up through there my high pressure fuel lines from AutoZone, run the tank up there beside me, but I might not have time. So we'll see how the derby Thursday and then Friday goes. So yeah, one last look here. We're kind of stopping as I'm going back to finish my Pro Stock PT Cruiser up front. Again, not much, just cut this out. Battery, I'm going to move that guy in here, the fuses. Do have the Lucas Oil transmission to try to help my transmission not slip so much or just kind of function enough. So here it is. We are ready to go for Saturday, almost ready. Bumper's got to pop off, but pretty simple stuff aside from the tank. So we're getting there. I'm excited. Get to run my first wagon. See what happens. So a quick look as we are wrapping up here today. We're on the doorstep of finishing up. We got the front headlights, front bumper off. Haven't moved the fuse box in yet, but that's a simple thing. Same thing with clipping the wires. Here we got all the headlights off. See if anybody needs those. Now the car in the back, an interesting thing. So again, as you're flipping, I think it's just smart to do this. I unplugged after I got the back bumper loose. I unplugged, it's just the rear sensor. I don't even think there's an impact sensor on, at least not that I know of. So I just unplugged it, went to start the car before I shut it down for the night. The car wouldn't start. So plugged this back in, had to take both battery terminals off, the positive and negative, started it up again, and it started. So there again is another lesson in making sure your car starts. Alright, so we're gonna stop there, see the windshield and the windows are left. I'm gonna try to pop them out. Pretty much everything else. The tank, I'm not sure what I'm gonna do yet. I want to move it. If I have the time, I will definitely move it. You see, it's got like a 2-plug system. This is where the fuel line is, and it seems like the main plug is. But then over there, I text my buddy and said, I'm pretty sure you don't need that. But he said, unplug it first, start the car to make sure. So we'll see. But this should be, there's the fuel line and there's the plug, and that other one, I think that's just like an overflow or something like that. If I remember, I didn't even plug it back in. So yeah, we'll see. But nearing completion. We're getting close to the Derby day, just a couple days away. We got a pro stock class to run with the PT Cruiser first, then we'll get back to this one. But yeah, again, I guess I'm gonna have to pull those wiring off and run it back through and just tape it up inside so that it doesn't mess with the motor or the fuel pump. There you go. So one last update video, and then we're gonna pause for a little while. You can see the wagon, the Freestyle, is loaded up, not to head to a Derby, but rather to head to my wife's father's property. They have a pole barn kind of out in the country a little bit, as I have yet again been turned into this stupid Sadsbury Township of Western PA, because heaven forbid there's a car sitting on my property for a month or two that's becoming a Derby car. So it kind of works out anyways. I was going to move it because this car probably won't run for a month and a half with so few Derbys in the area. There's one coming up, but I have my PT Cruiser to finish with it. So just to show, got the front bumper and headlights off. They're just hanging there. Inside, I mean, pretty much everything's done here. The battery's just sitting there for now. The wires will clip and run in. But we'll clean up some stuff in here, especially after the last Derby with my PT Cruiser. I learned some things. In particular, I'm going to talk with my buddy to get the sensor, the heat sensor, out of the motor, because that's what did my PT Cruiser in the last run. 25 cars in that heat, got down to around 8 or 9 still running when I lost my radiator early, and it overheated, shut the computer down, to where if I had that sensor out reading the air, my motor would have kept running, and I probably wouldn't have won it, but I might have placed and, you know, just not been shut down by my own computer because it's saying it's too hot. So still a little bit more to do inside. Just show real quick, I threw the bumpers in there, but pretty much everything done. I'm gonna move some of this right there is pretty much junk, just got to get it out. Wiring, I'm gonna ground some things. That right there again is the fuel regulator, so move him up front. But pretty much done outside of the windows. So yeah, she's gonna find a new home for a little while. And the Lucas Oil transmission, just an idea, I drove from over there where I had it parked over to here. When I did that before I put the Lucas Oil transmission in, after I drained some transmission fluid out, it barely made it here. This time the thing was running almost like you'd expect, perfectly. So I'm excited. We're gonna get all the Lucas Oil transmission, that transmission slip in there, and we might have a runner, so we'll see. We're gonna park her for now, come back to her in a month or so to finish her up.